Alright, so I am going to run through my Glock 19 and talk about the unnecessary but helpful upgrades that I have chosen to do to it. For a long time I ran my Glocks and all that I would do would be to change the sights, upgrade the sights, and then I would just be good to go on them. I guess a little bit of time into it, I was at a range session and got pretty sweaty, and my hands started to slip around a little bit. I started to think about what would happen in a tense environment. I would absolutely have sweaty hands and potentially other liquids on my hands and things. So I started to play around at that point with grip modification, but nothing intense. In fact, I was using a lot of that skateboard tape type product and some of the kind of rubberized product that would work as a decal on, on your, kind of like a sticker on your grip. And I'm still feel relatively favorable about those. And then I did my own stippling job at one point, and that went well. That was super functional, relatively tasteful looking. And then a while back, I decided to send the same grip that I had stippled to my friend Billy, who works for War Sport, the AR manufacturer, but he also runs a side business called Red Tail Customs, and he does other gunsmithing work. And Billy, was able to recontour my grip and some of the preferences that I had, taking out some material in some places that make a real difference to me. Of course, the gun was great to begin with. The Glock 19 is a really functional weapon as it comes from the factory, but there are certain guns that you kind of hold on to and you realize I'm using this a lot, and there are little small things that you would like to see different. So Billy did the recontouring of my grip and restippling of my grip, and I'm really happy with the job that he did. I think my two favorite things are the grooves that he cut down around the mag well, and this, what he calls an accelerator, and others call an accelerator cut, where your grip is my left thumb is able to kind of push down where it naturally rides on the slide. Hyatt Customs rounded, and it looks like a pretty small modification, but it's actually one of my favorite modifications. They rounded the rear and the front of my slide to a similar angle to the Glock 26. I carry in the appendix position often, and that's a gut saver, if you will. It's a little more comfortable. Zev sights, and I had been running Trijicon HDs, but I really kind of like this fiber optic, and so far I haven't had trouble with it. I've been concerned about the exposure and how tough this would be, but so far it's done a great job. I recently put this S3F barrel in it, and again, so far so good. I'm not sure that I'm ready to prove that my accuracy is any better with it or not. It certainly locks up just a little bit tighter, but the reliability doesn't seem to have changed at all. Of course, I have some Ghost Evo Elite trigger bar and a little bit of spring changes in the gun, so the trigger's quite nice. And then I sent the slide out to a DP Custom Works, and Doug over at DP did these kind of M&P type full slide serrations on the top. The gun, I think, is pretty tasteful, and it's pretty pretty minimalist. You know, there's not a huge difference in appearance between this gun and a stock Glock 19. It's not kind of all kinds of craziness going on. Some of those guns that I see on Instagram and see all over the place, man, I really think they're good looking weapons. But for my personal taste, I kind of like it subdued, and it's not just about appearance. I kind of wanted to only do those things that I felt like could create a functional difference for me. The grip absolutely has with the stippling. Of course, the cutouts make a big help. The sights are a must-have. So far, I've been really happy with the barrel. I'll be able to report more about that in the future. This looks great, and honestly, that was a big part of it for me. But I do think that there's actually some functional effect in that when you're doing one-handed manipulations, every little bit of resistance on the top of that slide gives you greater opportunity to get purchase and to rack the slide more positively. So I think that though it's minimal, I think that actually does have not only an aesthetic but a positive functional impact. Anyway, that's my gun, and I'm really happy with it. It's my Glock 19. It's been with me for a long time. This happens to be from the Gen 4. I have been a Gen 3 guy for a long time, but I switched over to a Gen 4 just as a test when they first came out, and then decided to go ahead and switch over sometime after that as far as what I ended up carrying. And so this is my Glock 19. She's been with me for a long time now, and I really like her. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe, and get into the conversation. Again, these are, I think they're called the Zev Combat sights, and I had a gunsmith kind of round off the edges for me there. The front side is just stock from them, and that's my gun, the Glock 19, with some simple but I think helpful upgrades, if you will. Now, to be perfectly frank, the Glock 19 outside of the sights probably doesn't need anything. But if you're going to spend a ton of time with a gun and you start to notice some things that would make it just a little bit more useful or just a little bit more appealing to you, why not go for it? You know, why not go for it? So that's my gun. Tell me about yours. Hope you guys have a great one. Bye.